This video will be discussing about vector addition. Vector addition. But if someone should ask what is a vector quantity or differentiate between vectors and scalar quantities, just simply say vector quantities are those quantities that have both magnitude and direction. Example: force, acceleration, displacement, and so on. Whereas scalar quantities are those quantities that has only magnitude. Example: 10, length, mass, and so on. Let's take for example or for illustration, if a boy walk from here, point A, through this path and then to point B. The distance the boy took from this point, from here to here to here and to here, whereas the displacement is just a straight line from point A to point B, and it always has an arrow showing the direction. So vector quantities always have direction. Let's take for another example. If a car moves from point A, let's say for example 4 kilometers, from point A, move 4 kilometers to point B, and then the driver drives again due north to point C. The displacement from here to here can be found by just drawing from the tail of first vector to the head of point vector BC. Now that is, I can find, and let's say here is 3 kilometers for example. You can find this displacement by Pythagoras theorem. By Pythagoras rule, and the rule states the hypotenuse squared is equal the sum of the two adjacent sides. So here let's use line AC. Give me square will give me 4 squared plus 3 squared. Therefore vector, that is the resultant vector, this R is also known as the resultant vector, equal sum of 16 plus 9. Answer is 5 kilometers. If you add this, to give you 25, and the square root of 25 is 5. That's for that one. This brings us to the topic we have today, vector addition. vector addition. We can add vectors from the same direction and vectors they are perpendicular to each other and vectors that are not perpendicular to each other. Let's, for example, vectors from the same direction. Example, if you have vector A and you want to add it to vector B, same direction. Vector B is going to give you a vector, so adding the both of them and the same direction. Let's take for example that A is vector A gives you 20 Newton, and then vector B gives you 30 Newton. That vector A plus B is going to give you 30 plus 20 plus 30 gives you 50 Newton. Let's take for another one that is not in same direction. Let's say I have vector of 100 Newton, and I'm going to add it with vector that is 80 vector 100 Newton is higher than 80 Newton, so you're gonna give you 20 Newton. The line is gonna be shorter this time around, and it's gonna give you 20 Newton, same direction, because it takes the direction of the one that is higher. Let's do another example. Let's take a vector A, let's call it vector A, which is vector A. This time around the vector is not in the same direction, but let's say in perpendicular direction you have vector B, and we have to add A plus B. So we can add A joining with vector B. So I'll take vector A, add it to vector B, the head of this and the tail of this, and I'll take this vector, I'll give me the resultant vector R equals A plus B. It will give you the resultant vector. So any example similar to this, you use the Pythagoras rule we use here. You can use that same rule as we use it here. So just use the Pythagoras theory here and you solve it. Let's take another one. This one that is not in the same direction, is not in opposite direction, and is not in perpendicular direction. Let's, for example, if I have vector A, let's say I have it as vector of 5 Newton, a 5 Newton vector this direction, and I have another vector of 6 Newton. This time around it has an angle. (30°). Let's say the angle is 30 degrees, not clear here, and I want to add these two vectors. You can add it, my same triangle of forces. And then you have know that there is this, the angle here is 30 degrees. So if the angle here is 30 degrees, that means the supplementary angle here is going to give you 150 degrees. So you can draw a line from here to here to give you the resultant vector. R will give you the sum of these two vectors, so which is 5 Newton and 6 Newton. You can use cosine rule to solve this problem. And then what does cosine rule state? Cosine rule states that r squared, let's use cosine rule. Cosine rule states r squared will give me 6 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times multiply 5 multiplying 6 cos 150, cos this angle here. And if you're conversant with the, if you can do this calculation here, you have our resultant square will give you 61. This is not clear. 61 plus, if you multiply this, you're going to have 60, and then sine cos 150 is the root 3 over 2, and it's negative quadrant, so it's turns this negative sign to positive. So r will give you the square root of this whole thing, and it's going to give you 10.62. Thank you. Follow for more videos, subscribe. If you have any challenge in this, I advise you to just drop your comment and follow for more.